Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be testing out and reviewing the newest concealer from R.E.M Beauty. This is her Sweetener concealer. Now these retail for $24 US each, and you can find them in 60 shades. 60. That's the most I've ever heard of any brand, any single brand launching as far as shades. 60. Now, as far as the details for the concealer, it is a customizable formula that you can certainly build up, so you get anywhere from medium to full coverage with this guy. It has a soft matte finish, and you can use this concealer all over the face, so you can correct with it, you can highlight with it, you can contour with it, you can conceal with it, anything and everything. Now, since this is a multitasking concealer, I did grab two different shades, one to conceal and one to correct. The one that I chose for correcting is medium 10W, which looks like this. On the website, it is described as being medium to tan with warm peach undertones, which is what you need underneath the eyes in order to color correct. And the shade that I went with for concealing is 2N, which is medium with neutral undertones. Figured that I would try to get as close to my foundation shade as possible, and since I typically use a neutral shade foundation, the 2W should work out nicely. This is what it looks like on the skin. Oh yeah, I'd say it's a good match. Now, when I purchased these online, they were also sending out their Dream Cloud blender, which you can use wet or dry, but the website does recommend that you use it wet. So that's what I did, or damp rather. So I just ran it under some water in order for it to expand. I just squeezed out any of the excess water and then also squeezed it with a towel just so that it leaves me with a nice damp sponge. This is really soft, very, very soft. I think it'll work well underneath the eyes. The only thing that drives me nuts about sponges is that you can't get in the inner corner right here. Like you can't. So we'll see how that goes. Now I do want to test this with the color correcting shade. I do want to test these together, but I know that you guys really like when I apply a concealer and nothing else underneath it because it gives us a better idea of how much coverage the concealers really provide just by themselves. Very rarely will I run into one that doesn't need a color corrector underneath, but this may be it. So before I get started, I am going to apply a layer or two of just the concealer shade underneath the right side and compare it to this and the corrector over here on the left. Once we're done comparing, I'm going to take the concealer off of the right side and I'm going to add one of my own personal favorite correctors underneath it and then reapply the concealer so that way we get a good idea of whether or not you can wear this on its own with the corrector shade underneath it, or if it needs something a little bit more hydrating because it does have a soft matte finish. So I am going to pair it with a more hydrating corrector underneath it, but I do want you guys to still have that, with corrector, without corrector comparison. Like I said, this is medium 10W with the peachy undertone. I'm going to apply this shade over here on the left side. Oh yeah. The texture on this is super lightweight but creamy. It doesn't feel heavy at all. And look at that. All right, so now for the concealer shade. And I'm going to apply that with the little sponge. So just gonna dip it in here. I'm gonna do this side first. Yeah, I've got to say, I am not a fan of this sponge. It's just too wide to be precise underneath the eyes. All right, this actually looks really good. Very, very concealed, I would say. So now we're going to do the right side without a color corrector. Let's see how much coverage we get over here. This is definitely high coverage. All right, so there it is side by side with the corrector shade, without the corrector shade. I can already tell you this is not going to wear well by itself or with a correct, like it's just not. And I hate to say it because I've literally had it on for no more than like 2-3 minutes, but it's already starting to settle. It's starting to separate in certain areas, and it just looks, it feels light. It feels very, very lightweight, but it looks a little heavy. So I don't like the sponge. I don't want to apply it with this. Once I come back and redo it and really get it going, I'm not going to be using this. It just applies way too much, like more than what I think I would really need, even with dark circles. And look, even from this distance, I'm sure you can see all sorts of settling underneath the eyes already. This has a soft matte finish. I would not want to set it if I don't have to, okay? But the way that it looks right now, I would absolutely have to set it. I'd have to set it. I'll zoom you guys in just so you can see it up close. The coverage is pretty high, but yeah, it's looking a little heavy. All right, so this is the concealed side without the correcting shade under it. So very, very high in coverage. You can absolutely achieve full coverage with just the concealer alone. And this is the correcting shade and the concealer shade. So now that we know that we can achieve full coverage with just the concealer, but we may have to add a couple of layers, the way that I'm going to be testing this out is with the concealer shade and the corrector shade on one side, and then I'm going to do my own corrector over on the right side with the concealer. So underneath the right side, you're going to see this duo, the R.E.M Beauty Concealer along with my Sigma Spectrum Color Correcting Duo. And on the left side, you're going to get a layer of the correcting shade and a layer of the concealer, so it'll be 2 layers. And I do plan on applying it with a different method. I'm going to skip out on that sponge because I was not a big fan of it, so I'm going to do my typical method, which is a brush, and then I might set it very, very lightly depending on what we see underneath the eyes. So I'm just going to take my color corrector. This one's the medium to dark shade from Sigma Beauty. That's what they look like. I mixed the 2 shades. I'm going in under the eyes, just trying to focus the correcting shade right here along the inner corner. I'm not going to take it out too far because I don't need it. All right, so we're good there. Next, I'm going to do the medium 10W shade. And again, just concentrating it right here where I need it the most. So just 1 layer of that. And now that I'm getting a better look at it, it doesn't look peach at all to me. And you can really see it right here. It's a bit more warm and yellow. It's still serving as a correcting shade, but it's just, yeah, it's not as peach as I thought it was gonna be. Let me apply foundation and I'll be right back for concealer. All right, I'm back. Let's get into concealer. So I'm gonna use my Deluxe Crease Brush from Real Techniques. I'm just going to dip it into the pot a little bit, and this is what I'm going to use underneath the eyes. That way I have more control of where I'm placing the concealer, and it's not just kind of ending up in places that it really doesn't need to. So just applying it right here very lightly and blending it. This is very, very high in coverage. I do have to say that. It's super high in coverage, without a doubt. So you really don't need a whole lot. All right, so there is one side done. This is definitely more of a highlighting shade for me. I thought it would match my complexion perfectly, and when I did it right here, when I swatched it here, it looked like it would, but now that I have it underneath the eyes, it just looks a bit brighter than what I was expecting, which is fine because it's still concealing really, really well. Now let's go ahead and take care of the left side. Again, I'm just trying to focus on where I need it rather than the entire under eye area. All right, so there it is, both sides on, both sides really concealed. Really, really concealed. Although over here, it looks a little bit too yellow. So I was debating as to whether or not to set it, but I just got a good look and it looks like it is still settling into fine lines over here especially. And remember, this is where we only have R.E.M Beauty over here. Over here I have the Sigma corrector underneath the concealer, but I see quite a bit of settling. So I am going to set it very lightly because this does have a soft matte finish, so I don't want to go crazy. I'm going to set it with one of my current favorites, the Oma Beauty Trip and Smooth powder in the shade Light. So I'm just going to take this on my Soft Blend number 40 brush from Sigma Beauty. Just a little tiny bit. And then of course setting this under eye area. All right, well, that's as good as it gets, I think. Let me zoom you guys in so that you can get a good look underneath the eyes after initial application. All right, so here we are. This is what we're starting the day with. As a reminder, this side has the Sigma corrector with the R.E.M concealer, and this side has the R.E.M correcting shade as well as the R.E.M concealer shade. All right, so let me jump off camera, finish my makeup, and I'll be right back. Okay, makeup is done, ready to go for the day. It is currently 11:35 in the morning. I do plan on wearing this all day long, of course, and you are going to see a midday check-in. I'm going to give you more close-ups under natural lighting, talk about how the concealer has been wearing up to that point, which should be in about like 4 or 5 hours. So I'll see you guys back here in a few hours for my midday check-in. All right, I am back for a quick midday check-in. It is 4:16, and this is the under eye area at the moment. Not looking too great. It looks a bit dry, and it definitely looks like it's broken up. And that's what I mean when I say that it's broken up. It's like it really does look like it is just no longer one layer of concealer. Now it looks like different sections of concealer, and it looks pretty dry. So, you know, it's doing the same thing over on the right side. That's the side that we color corrected with the Sigma color corrector. And on the left side, it looks even worse. So let's try to make this a little bit more wearable for the rest of the day. I'm taking the Deluxe Crease Brush, the one that I used for blending this morning. I'm not adding any additional product to it. I just want to blend away all of this added texture that this concealer is giving me. Just blending it out a little bit. Hopefully I don't lose too much coverage. I think that looks a little better, especially when you compare it to this side. Like this side definitely looks a little bit better. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here on the left. That looks a bit better. I did lose coverage, not too much though, but at least now it's wearable for the remainder of the day. So I'll continue to wear the concealer for another 4 hours. And yeah, we'll see if it keeps doing that. Hopefully it stopped. Hopefully that was it. But who knows? Anyway, I'll see you guys back here at the end of the day for my final check-in. All right, so I am finally back for my end of day check-in. It is now 8:47 p.m., which makes this a 9-hour day, I believe. Now, before I get into what I think about this concealer, let's go in and get you guys really close, get you guys up close and personal so that you can see what the under eye area looks like after wearing this concealer for an entire day. All right, so this is the under eye area. As a reminder, this is the side that we color corrected with the Sigma corrector and applied the concealer onto, and this is the side with 2 layers of the concealer. So I'm pretty sure you guys already know what I'm thinking. Pretty sure. I don't like this concealer. It's a hard pass for me, not for my under eye area. If you're dealing with any kind of dryness underneath the eyes, this is, I feel, gonna emphasize that, just like it accentuated my fine lines. They're very pronounced right now. And it settles. It settles really fast. And it's primarily due to the formula, to the cream formula that it comes in. It's not a liquid concealer, it's a cream concealer, and you can absolutely feel how thick it really is. I mean, it's super pigmented. I'm not gonna take that away from it. It is such a pigmented concealer, but when you apply this to the under eye area, it's almost impossible not to get this to settle in between fine lines, or at least that's kind of my opinion on it. Like, I feel like it's gonna take, I don't know, maybe if you're very young, or if you really don't have a lot of texture or lines, fine lines underneath the eyes, then perhaps, you know, you can get this to wear a bit smoother than I did. But if you have any kind of texture, any kind of fine lines, this is absolutely going to settle. So you are absolutely going to need to set this. And if you set this, it just looks dry. It looks excessively dry. I cannot wait to wash this off. It feels very, very light. I must say that. It does feel very lightweight. I don't feel like I have a heavy dose of anything underneath the eyes, but it's just too dry. It's too dry for me. The only way that I'll wear this concealer again is if I'm just going to be covering up like a blemish or two around the face. For the under eye area, absolutely not. Contouring, I do see this formula as being something that you can absolutely blend out, and it just, you know, really works all over the face. But personally, for me, underneath the eyes, never again. If you happen to have an oily under eye area, which I feel like most people don't, most people deal with dryness underneath the eyes, but if for whatever reason you're someone who deals with an oily under eye and you don't have a lot of texture, a lot of fine lines, then perhaps this would be great because it is very lightweight. It is very pigmented, and you don't need a lot of product in order to get the most out of this concealer. You really don't, but it doesn't stay put, and it doesn't look great by the end of the day, or at least, you know, not on me. So will I be using this again for the under eye area? No, that's a definite no. So there you have it, my loves. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed today's video and that you found this review helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on future videos. And also don't forget to follow me over on Instagram, where I absolutely love to interact with you guys. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Mwah. Bye.